Welcome. We're so excited to have you at the museum on a Tuesday morning. And as a historical organization, what we do every single day is collect the stories of history that's happening right now. And this certainly is one of those instances. I mean, how often is a new coin minted that speaks to the history of your own city? You know, this is, after all, our history, and the history that's here in this museum is your history. If you haven't been here before, welcome. If you've been here but not since third grade, welcome home. I hope you'll all come back many times. We open about 20 new exhibits here every year. So every time you come, you will find something new and interesting to learn. Either something that's buried deep within an exhibit that you've already seen once before, or maybe a brand new exhibit with artifacts from our 300,000 strong artifact collection that may not have seen the light of day in many years. So we're working hard every day to make sure that those stories come to light. It's your history. We want you to be here and enjoy it. Welcome here today. Welcome back tomorrow or the next day or over the holidays when you have guests. It's a really important opportunity to understand a little bit about where we came from as a city, where we are now, and where we're going in the future. So welcome today. It's my honor to introduce the Honorable Judge Stephen Bita. And Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, and thank you for being here today. This is a little slice of history, and we are surrounded by history in this room. And it is really, truly an honor to not only see everybody here, but to be part of this. 3 years ago, the governor asked me to head up this effort to be the liaison with the U.S. Mint for the development of a theme and a design of the coin. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that in a bit. But before we do that, I want to do a couple of thank yous. I want to thank all our sponsoring organizations, Motor Cities National Heritage Area, Michigan History Foundation, the Michigan State Numismatic Society, as well as Liberty Coins, which has graciously donated some coins for the coin exchange. And with that, I want to start introducing some of our speakers because I did promise that I would keep a very short program. And Rebecca and I are both attorneys, so that's a very difficult thing to be short. First of all, I'd like to introduce Bill Arnold. He's the Development Director of the Michigan History Foundation for a few words. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Judge Bita, for inviting us to be a part of this amazing opportunity. And as Judge Bita said, I'm with the Michigan History Foundation, and the foundation is committed to the preservation and interpretation of Michigan's history. And one thing that is central to Michigan history, as we all know, is innovation. From our state's first inhabitants, the Anishinaabe people, who spirited innovation in boat making, think birch bark canoes, agriculture, think Three Sisters planting corn, beans, and squash together, to beadwork and weaving and basketry, to the innovations by our later immigrants in the areas of timber, fishing, marine engineering, mining, that all preceded and contributed to the automobile industry and the assembly line technology for which our state is world-renowned. Finding and supporting ways to preserve, interpret, and celebrate that history and the ingenuity and the skill and the craftsmanship that was central to those innovations that changed the course of industry and agriculture, medicine, and is more critically important to commemorate that and celebrate those moments. Not only for what those individuals did that created those innovations, but for the ability to inspire the next generation. As Rebecca said, this is our history, but it's to carry that forward and inspire others. And so that's why we're so committed to preserving and interpreting that history. And so that's why we're so proud to be a part of this commemorative effort and to celebrate the legacy of the state of Michigan and our people and contributions to innovation that are represented by this Michigan Innovation Dollar. So we're so proud to be here, so proud to be a part of this, and glad to have you all here with us today. Thank you.
I should have added that I'm a member of all of these organizations, so my interest in history, my interest in automobiles, my interest in numismatics sort of blended together in putting this program together. Our next speaker is Brian Yop, who's with Motor Cities National Heritage Area, which I'm also proud to say I'm a former chairman emeritus. I don't have enough gray hair, in my opinion, to be an emeritus, but I won't go into any of my hair secrets talking about that. Brian, please come up.
Your secret is certainly safe with me, Steve. So today really is a celebration of innovation and ideas. The assembly line was an innovation that revolutionized automotive production, making cars affordable to the masses, and literally put the world on wheels. We took an idea that was a craft. People were making cars hand by hand, one at a time at stationary assembly, and exploded into the industry that we know and love. The story of the moving assembly line is one of many stories preserved and promoted by the Motor Cities National Heritage Area. So some of you, it's news to you that you are standing right now in a National Heritage Area, a place that was designated by the National Park Service and an act of U.S. Congress in 1998, a place that was deemed so special to America's history that it received this designation. Our mission is to preserve and promote the automotive and labor heritage of 16 counties of Michigan and a little bit of Windsor, so we are actually an international heritage area. The Heritage Area is part of the National Park Service and part of the National Heritage Area system. The Park Service itself is in charge of keeping America's stories. And so the area is designated as such because it includes not just one location, not a physical single park, but a collection of cultural and natural resources that made this place so special. We are one of 62 across the country, but we're the only one in Michigan. Remember that for now. The other heritage areas from coast to coast have their own story. It may be Abraham Lincoln in Springfield, it may be the steel industry in Pittsburgh, but all of them have their special place. Our special place here in 10,000 square miles of Michigan is our automotive and labor story, and it's really in our DNA and defines our Michigan heritage. Since our founding in '98, we've worked with hundreds of projects, invested millions of dollars in grants to our partners in Flint and Lansing, from Ypsilanti to Kalamazoo, from Dearborn to Detroit. In fact, right here, the exhibit you're standing in is a project that we supported with the Motor Cities National Heritage Area, to give you some perspective. So we always enjoy working with our friends here and coming back to visit the museum because, again, they are also the keepers of the story, so we thank them so much for being stewards of our history. But the story that we're telling here didn't start too far from here. Not too far down the road on Woodward Avenue going towards the river, Ransom Olds opened the plant. So some people have the misconception that it was Henry Ford, but Ransom Olds actually patented the moving assembly line and had a plant here in Detroit before it burned and before he moved to Lansing. So the story really started there. It moves north Woodward to an area called Milwaukee Junction. If you're familiar, this was sort of a bed of automotive manufacturing. Right now, the Ford Piquette Avenue plant is still there and tells the story of early manufacturing in the early 1900s. But that's where a lot of folks were trying to get their start. You see stories of Packard and Hudson. They were all sort of clustered there as they were trying to get their start. They were starting with the stationary assembly, but not too long after that, they moved further up Woodward Avenue to what I think a lot of people would associate with the moving assembly line, the Ford Highland Park plant. And so that plant is where things got launched and started, and most people sort of got their image of what the moving assembly line was and the impact it made more than a century later. So the launch of this coin is wholly aligned with the Motor City's mission of telling that story. The moving assembly line spurred tremendous boom for the automotive manufacturers, and we of course can honor them today. But today I also like to think about, when I look at the coin, all of the people. The moving assembly line represented the workers who had to work day in and day out, who filled those lines, who proudly produced vehicles over all those many, many years, all the way up to today. So this year, even as we celebrate the 90th anniversary of the founding of the UAW, we think about the workers and those who gave so much. I think about my grandfathers who are part of that lineage. Both of them came to Detroit from Georgia. Both of them had great careers, one at Ford, one at Chrysler. So this is a personal story for a lot of people who are associated with this industry, and this coin means so much to all those folks. So this Innovation Dollar is another way to commemorate that important history. And like Steve said, he's been a part of our organization since the very beginning, championing that history both in the legislature and now as a mild-mannered citizen, but also a judge. So we thank you, Steve, and those who are responsible for putting this event together, and we thank you all for attending.
I know there's a lot of collectors here today too, and I have the president of the Michigan State Numismatic Society, Kathy Friedland, and she'll be introducing the president of the American Numismatic Association, who drove in from Pennsylvania. American Numismatic Association, the background started in Michigan out in Monroe, so it has some Michigan roots as well. Without further ado, Kathy Friedland.
Can one of you hand me one of the flyers over there, please? The one that goes with the yes, that one, thank you. Thanks. Good morning, everybody. How are you this morning? We are so pleased to be here for this event. Steve started talking to me 3-4 weeks ago.
I talked to you before that, but about this, yes.
Right, 3-4 weeks ago, and we tried to find a way that Michigan State Numismatic Society could play a part in this. It's been a wild ride, let me tell you. But we have people here from MSNS that are going to help us do the coins this morning. We appreciate all of the support from all of the people here that I know are MSNS members. And I'm going to tell you that if you aren't, we have the latest issue of the Mishmatist with the coin on the front. If you join today, we will be happy to give you one of those magazines. Just a little plug, okay? If you don't, this will be the table that you're coming to get your coins. As you go through the line, we're going to take your dollar and we're going to put it away. We're going to hand you a coin, and then you get one of these to go with you. So it tells you the story of how this actually came to be. That's enough about me. I want to introduce the American Numismatic Association president, Tom Urim. Tom and I have known each other for the last 10 years or so, I think. I've been in numismatics for 30 years, thanks to my husband. So, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Anyway, Tom hails from Pittsburgh area, Washington Corners, I believe. Okay, and he has come. He's past president of the Pennsylvania Association of Numismatists. He has been a big part of the Citizens Coinage Committee, which gets to pick all of the designs of all the different coins. And as of now, he is the national president for the American Numismatic Society. It's my pleasure to introduce Tom to you.
Thank you, everyone, and welcome, and thank you, Judge Bita, for this effort. It's a great day in Michigan. It's even a better day here in Detroit, Michigan, as we celebrate the launch of this historic coin, the Innovation Dollar. I've had the opportunity to review many designs. I served on the committee for 8 years at Treasury, where there were 11 of us that would review designs and so forth. And so I know what Judge Bita has gone through over the last probably 3 years, and I think he's going to tell you more about that. But it is a process, but it is a great day because we are here now with the final result and the recognition that Michigan deserves for this historic Innovation Dollar. And also, I think that you should all be really proud of the design, and I know Judge Bita is going to go over that a little bit more as well. I'd also like to recognize, I drove in last night and I had a great hospitality with the Royal Oak Coin Club. If you're not a member of a coin club, think of joining a coin club. There are many around. Kathy, I'm sure, will be able to provide you on the website if you are further interested in coins and numismatics. I'd like to recognize Governor David Heinrich, who drove in from Cincinnati. I was at his club for their 95th anniversary of their club in Cincinnati on Saturday. But you know, coins, whether it's this coin or any coin that you have, you can take it out of your pocket. It's history in your hands. You can talk about it, you can learn about it, you can talk about the engraver. Now, one kind of trivia question, I think most of you will get it, but maybe you might want to share it with your children and your grandchildren. How many sides to a coin? you have the obverse, you have the reverse, and yes, the rim. And so don't forget there's three sides to a coin. And you'll see here that there are, and Judge Beat will probably tell you about it, some edge lettering on this particular coin. And so don't forget that. But on behalf of the American Numismatic Association, we have 28,000 members and growing. If you'd like to learn more, we're at money.org. But most importantly, this month, at the end of the month, we have National Coin Week. And I know a number of you know all about National Coin Week and, and are going to be looking for more answers to the trivia question, which I will share later on. So we did that last night at the club as well. But National Coin Week is at the end of the month. There's a lot of things happening. We have summer seminar. If you are interested, money.org. And once again, it is a great day. And on behalf of our 28,000 members, congratulations to the whole team that put together the Michigan State Innovation Dollar. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, and I just wanted to, again, thank everybody that came here today. I want to tell you a little bit about the history of how this design came about and how the theme was chosen. I'd also want to make sure that I thank a couple individuals. We have a lot of people working the tables today as volunteers. They're members of several different coin clubs and different friends of mine that have generously donated their time. Also want to thank Pat Heller of Liberty Coins in Lansing for a generous donation to help make this event possible, as well as all of our sponsors for making this event possible. 3 years ago, in April of 2022, I got a call from the treasurer of the state of Michigan, and the director of the Mint, or the Mint itself, had contacted the governor's office asking that somebody be appointed to be the official liaison to the Mint for the development of the theme and design, and to work in the design process for the Michigan Innovation Dollar. The executive office talked about it themselves. Finally, they got me on a group call, and I thought I might be in trouble because I had like 5 different people on there, and I was just, okay, what are they calling me for? And I was invited to, earnestly asked to take on this role. And of course I was familiar with the coin program. This is going to be the 27th coin in this series. It started in 2018. There are 4 coins that are being issued a year. But I was really excited about it. And I was excited about it because I really love our state. There's a lot of cool history here. The auto industry certainly is a huge part of it, and we definitely celebrate that. But when it came up to coming up with some ideas for this, I had to reach out to a lot of different sources. I'm involved in a lot of different history groups, kind of a history buff myself, and started to look at all the different things that Michigan was part of the innovation process for. One of the issues that came up early on, I thought, well, let's look at some of the colleges and universities. We have the first agricultural college in the United States, Michigan State University. Any Michigan State fans here? Okay, go green. All right. I'm gonna make sure I also balance that with there was also a development that I was looking from that came out of the University of Michigan, and that's the original theoretical basis for the moon lunar module car that drove on the moon in the early 1970s. Also looked at Peace Corps, which was first announced by JFK at a visit to U of M back in 1960, that developed in the Peace Corps. And I thought, well, that'd be a cool idea too. And if you thought that was the best idea since sliced bread, well, you know what? Battle Creek takes credit for inventing sliced bread. So we looked at that. We had things like the city of Grand Rapids, which was the first city in the United States to add fluoride to the water. We had Dow Chemical with innumerable innovations in chemistry and better living in chemistry. I hope I'm not breaking any trademarks for stating that. Certainly the auto industry was up there. I looked at Motown, techno music. There were just a lot of different things that we could look at. Mackinac Bridge, the largest suspension bridge in the United States, actually at the time in the world. So these are a lot of really cool innovations. The challenge was coming up with a design and a theme that would fit on a coin and that would look good on a coin. You know, one of the things we looked at is breakfast cereal, which was invented again in Battle Creek, Kellogg's. Thought that would be kind of cool too. We kind of imagined that on a coin, some kid with his mouth full chomping on some cereal. So I had to kind of keep that in mind too, what it's going to be involved with. So ultimately, it boiled down to a couple designs or a couple themes. Auto assembly line, which we're celebrating today. Motown and techno music, which was another part of that. Looked at breakfast cereal. There were a lot of hospital innovations and medical innovations too that were looked at. Ultimately, as we narrowed them down even further, and we say we, it was me talking to a lot of different people. I was kind of like a solo person on this, but I did reach out to different historical groups, did a lot of research on it, and came up with the assembly line as probably the most transformative invention that came out of Michigan. And when you think about the impact that the auto assembly line has had on American lives, on the world, we literally put the world on wheels. We use that slogan a lot, but we did. They made cars more affordable. It had a transformative impact not only on how we live, but on the income level of a lot of Americans. And so I thought the assembly line was the go-to on this. So the next part of it was to meet with the Mint designers, and we did that via Zoom. Some of this is kind of like, you know, I was appointed in 2022. We're still in kind of that semi-COVID world, but also in addition to that, everybody was in different areas of the country. So we did it by the magic of Zoom. Thank God Michigan did not invent Zoom, because that would have been a consideration for it too. And that would have been really hard to put on a coin. So I met with the artists, talked about the themes. I was inspired by a number of pieces of work. Diego Rivera murals down the street at the DIA was something that I mentioned in that meeting. I talked about some videos of the Rouge plant and auto assembly line and some of the things that you see there. Ultimately, we did go with the auto assembly line, and the artists were set to work on it, and they came up with some great designs. I had 6 designs to choose, and the next part of the process was not only my impact on the designs for technical, historical accuracy, but also coinability and a number of other factors that had to come in play. Some of the designs needed some revisions, again, on the technical aspect. One of the things that I noticed on all of the designs that showed an assembly line, like the design was chosen here, there's actually a little storyboard up here in the front. You can see a progression of the design. The original one that was there, was submitted, had one worker, had an assembly line, and it shows some action, but there's just one worker. And I'm looking at that, I'm looking at all the other ones, and I come from an auto family, and I'll be honest with you, I have some sympathies with UAW. So one worker's not gonna do it. So I said, you gotta increase the workers. So I tripled the number of workers on the coin. Now, if I ever run for national office, I'm gonna make about 1 million of these coins. I'm gonna claim that I created 2 million auto jobs. But it's accurate. That is part of what we do in the state. That's part of frankly, the appeal of the assembly line. It created a lot of jobs, good paying jobs. Jobs that people can raise families with, jobs that they can buy homes with, jobs that they can send their children to college and advance careers or start other businesses with. That's the importance of this assembly line. So it's not just making cars, but it's transformative impact on American life and the economy. Ultimately, I had to go through a couple different, the Citizens Coin Advisory Committee is one committee of basically people interested in numismatics that reviewed the designs. I did some presentations in front of them. The Federal Commission of Fine Arts was another commission to go through. There's a lot of different commissions. As you're probably wondering, I was appointed in April of 2022, and this is April 2025. That's 3 years. What did you do in that 3 years, Steve? All of these different committees, and there was a lot of revisions that were done on the coin. Now, one of the things that made this event possible, frankly, is the fact that reaching out to a lot of different groups, and particularly numismatic groups, they were asking if there's going to be a release ceremony or some kind of, ceremony unveiling the design, and there was a lot of interest in that. So the Mint wasn't going to put something together, although I want to send thanks to the Mint for providing a lot of the materials today, and also, frankly, for allowing me to get the coins ahead of their official release, which won't be until about noon today. So, and you don't have to buy that on the Mint's website. There are some QR codes on these posters here. You can take a picture of it, and you can get the Mint's website, and you can order the coins if you want a larger quantity of those by doing that. But part of the magic of any type of new thing like this is the celebration of it. I was talking with the Mint yesterday because sleepless night on Sunday, the coins didn't come in, and then when they said, my alert said they were in, they actually were not at my post office box where they're supposed to be, so I had to chase them around a little bit. And my opportunity and my anxiousness, I called the Mint up, and we had a nice talk, and I did find the coins. But they told me that we are the first state to have any type of ceremony like this for the release of the coins, and they want to use this as a template going forward where we'd have groups in the home state sponsor the activity that we'll go with. But it makes it kind of a fun thing to do. And one of the comments that they said there, because one of the Mint officials that I was working with is from Michigan, and he goes, he's telling everybody at work, he said, yeah, it's typical that Michigan does this because Michigan likes to celebrate everything. And even though this is a dated reference, he said they even like to celebrate the Lions. So, but which we do. With that being said, I do want to thank everybody that volunteered and contributed to make this event possible. The next step on this, I do have a presentation of I'm going to call this the first official coin being distributed because we haven't distributed any of them yet. And Jeremy Nimrick, Director of Collections and Curatorial of the Detroit Historical Society, we're going to do it in the front. Now this coin, which I chose at random, was from the coins that I received from the Mint yesterday. They were under my bed last night and I brought them out this morning. But this is the first coin that will be distributed from the Mint, and we'll present it to the collection. We have a better frame for it that will come in at a later time. But it's a cool piece. It's exactly like the ones that you'll be able to buy today with the Mint mark. Only because this one's the first one. We're going to start accepting offers of $1 million on this. But I understand it was going to be part of the permanent collection. So with that being said, thank you again for hosting us. And that being said, I wanted to again thank everybody for coming today. We're going to open up the sales of the coins. Originally, I mentioned there would be one per person, but I think the crowd allows us to sell 2 per person. Yes, we got that change, so it would move fast. We had volunteers this morning stapling and putting these little holders. I want to thank them. They got a little round of applause for them today. I hope you enjoyed the program, and they do have some material related to an article that I wrote in the Michigan Test about the design you may want to consider joining if you don't already belong. With that being said, thank you everybody, and Jim Clients, it's an honor to be here.